All Sports, episode 5 of the Pub Test podcast. And it is time for me to tell a joke.
The most exciting part of the podcast,
No,
in my opinion.
Don't build it up.
No, we are hyping this up because you have provided the laugh so far.
Thanks.
Kira Francestini described it as, I was laughing. I was in stitches. That was what she
Yeah, look,
fucked up the quote.
I went big early. Let's be honest. A bit too big, but that's okay. We've gone a bit more PG since then, but they're still good. Like the one from the last episode I thought was pretty good.
That was okay.
No, you laughed. It was good.
You laughed.
I was just too dumb to get
Yeah,
it.
you just didn't get it.
Rod just felt us staring daggers blankly. Like, what the hell are we doing?
And I was not going to be explaining the joke again. Because that is the worst nightmare. Anyway.
What'd you got for us?
Anyway, I bought some new deodorant the other day. Like the Rexona stuff. I don't know what you guys usually use, Rexona.
Hamish by Andy.
Yeah.
Hamish by Andy?
Yeah.
Is it Andy by Hamish or Andy?
I don't know.
He's Andy by Hamish.
They got a claim against him,
Andy
but
by
that's all
Hamish,
right.
yeah. So I bought new deodorant. The instructions said remove cap, push up bottom, all that stuff. For full transparency, I can barely walk, but when I fart, the room smells lovely. Yes.
Yeah, that was the best so far.
It's on the edge.
Oh, I was in the sweet spot right
On
there.
the edge. I like it.
Yes.
Nice.
Stuck into it, boys.
Good from you. Wasn't expecting that. Boys, let's crack into the AFLW world. So we'll see how this goes. Riley,
Round 2.
round 2.
Round 1 was great. Round 2, it was going to be hard to live up to the hype, but there was a couple of really good games that I wanted to focus on. I was lucky enough to be at one of them. You were there for the
Very good
second half?
Yeah, second half, yeah.
Yep, when it got super tight. Melbourne defeated North Melbourne at the G 26-24. Super tight game. North Melbourne made Melbourne work for it. North Melbourne kicked 4 goals straight. Melbourne kicked 3 goals 8. So, two teams with very different games. It was played between the arcs because both defences were really strong. North Melbourne made the most of their opportunities. 4 scoring shots, 4 goals. But it was friend of the show, Alyssa Bannon.
Very good.
Kicked the game-winning goal. And while she did that, landed on her own elbow and corked herself. So, she is sore. But, with 2 minutes left, kicked the match winner, as she always does. Got out the back too fast for everyone else. So,
Very good goal.
it was
Tight angle.
under pressure. And the girl took her legs out as she kicked it. So, it was really...
The bounce wasn't very kind either. Got hung up in the air and running at full pelt wasn't easy.
Yeah, so it was a good play by Melbourne with a couple of minutes to go. It looked like North Melbourne were going to steal it, but...
Just looked like they were going to just pinch one. Because obviously Melbourne had the most scoring shots. And it was like, just going to pinch one here.
Yeah.
And then Melbourne hang on, get the goal and then hang on for the rest of the game.
And that's what the good teams do. So, next game, Adelaide defeated Richmond by 9 points, 36-27. That was expected. The Dogs, they had a win. Well done. They defeated Port Adelaide 28-9.
Someone broke their leg in the game, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
not good.
Game got delayed by like half an hour.
I didn't see it, but I saw the pictures at ambulance on them. They were covering, they had like the sheet of paper covering, or it's not paper, but they had that sheet up covering her, so that tells you it's a one of those bad leg breaks. Surprised you didn't send that to me, Fletcher. Fletcher, for reference, literally every time there's a broken leg, every time there's a broken leg or a broken arm, that's like compound fracture in the world of sport, Fletcher will send it to me.
So if you got...
I'm petrified of, when I see sent by Fletcher Berryman, as a personal message, I do not open it.
If you've got any disgusting breaks, just send them to @Thomas Santorino.
At
in
T
Instagram.
Santorino.
It makes me squirm so much. Sorry, Riley, continue.
No, that is all good. And then Geelong with a massive upset over Freo, 27-1 in the wet. Dominated them. Geelong top of the ladder. Look at us go in the men's and the women's.
Once again,
Good.
Fremantle
Stop.
cannot play in the wet. Men's and women's. Such a, something to mention that. Right, sorry, go on.
No, all good. And then this was another cracking game. I was actually at work for this one, but we had it on one of the computers and kept walking in and out. Luckily, it wasn't that busy, so I got to watch a bit of it. But Carlton defeated Essendon by a point. They got out to a hot start, almost butchered it. They had control for the first 2.5 quarters, and then they basically didn't score in the second half. 7-minute mark of the third quarter, Darcy Vesio kicked a goal, and they didn't score from there. So, Matty Prasparkas dominated again. Goal, 21 disposals, 7 clearances. I don't know if the coaches' votes have been released yet, but when they are, I'm sure she'll get lots of those. So, she just didn't have the help. Collingwood defeated Sydney, 45-14. Sydney started off well, but just couldn't hold on. Brisbane smashed GWS 67-20. They're looking probably the second best team at the moment behind Melbourne. They had almost triple the inside 50s and just dominated in that one. So well done to them. St Kilda smashed Hawthorn 63-10. That was pretty expected. Hawthorn, an expansion team, a new team. They're going to take a while. Gold Coast defeated West Coast 47-14. Another one that was expected. I tipped West Coast in this one to swerve after they won last week, and it did not work. So do not change your tips after you've put them in.
That is literally my cardinal sin. Is I wait till Friday night to enter my tips. Sometimes the day of like Sunday games, because once I enter my tips, I'm not allowed to change them.
So that was very disappointing.
No, that's true, Fletcher.
Yeah. Okay.
So, moral of the story, I got 7 out of 9 tips. One of them was accidentally tipping Essendon to beat Carlton, and they lost. And the other was changing it to West Coast, and they lost.
Hypothetically, she got 9 out of 9.
So what you're saying is you're very good at tipping, are you?
I'm very good at tipping.
What happened in the AFL season then?
Yeah, where are you in our group tipping competition?
Must have changed a lot of tips in that competition then.
Yeah, well, I did, because I was out of it by the buys.
I'm arguably the most knowledgeable football bloke in the group, and you're like the bottom couple. I don't get it.
I'm last.
No, you're not.
Yeah, because with 4 or 5 rounds to go, I started making
quizzes
for people to...
That's fair. No, one round you literally got about 15 people to pick a number between 1 and whatever, and that was your tips.
Does pineapple go on pizza? If it was yes, it's the home team. If it's no, it's the away team.
It was very fun for our group.
It was fun for me. Less stressful. But yeah, anyway, so that was the AFLW roundup. Most results were expected. Pretty much only the Melbourne hanging on, but apart from that, those were all pretty much expected. Cats top the ladder, happy days. That was it for that. But next up, we have the Premier League. Tommy, 2 match days to talk about here, so let's get into it.
Yes, I'm a very tired boy with 4 or 5 days, morning set to get up early for. But I won't cover every game because we'll be here all night. So thought I'd cover really the big clubs. Hopefully talk as little about Chelsea as possible for this first one. But so Liverpool, a 98th minute winner over Newcastle. Newcastle was so robbed. Well, maybe not robbed, stiff is the word I'd use. They were also very stiff with VAR. We will talk more about VAR in a moment. But how Newcastle didn't get a point, beyond me, they were the better side in my opinion. But Liverpool 2-1 winners there. Southampton defeated Chelsea 2-1. Look, Chelsea didn't deserve to win, and they didn't win. I don't know much else to say. Sterling scored first. We 1-0 up, and Southampton low-key dominated from there.
Just quickly, what happened there?
I honestly don't know. The less I talk about, the better. But
okay.
I honestly don't know how. We were horrendous.
He just
doesn't
want to talk about
it. Dusted me off.
Right? We were horrendous. You'd expect us, even though it was away from home, you'd expect us to go to Southampton. Southampton been pretty ordinary early. You expect us to go out and dominate that game, and Southampton were genuinely the better side.
Well, I remember looking at when the lineups came out, looking at what the hell, this is not the lineup of a Chelsea team that I'm used to.
Yeah,
it just seems like you've dropped
We're
that
missing
level.
That striker big time. Havertz is, I know we'll go into Havertz, he did score, but he's
Aubameyang.
Yeah, Aubameyang, he's going to be the saviour. Man City defeated Bournemouth 6-0, and in turn causing the sacking of Bournemouth manager Scott Parker. We did hear reports say that wasn't result based. It was more that I think Scott Parker complained about the lack of signings. You're looking at Nottingham Forest spending $250 million on 21 players.
That is ridiculous.
And Bournemouth spending no money. And I think in turn Bournemouth's like, we don't want to spend any money. Scott Parker obviously gave an ultimatum and they sacked him. So you don't see managers being sacked this early. Haaland bagging a hat-trick and proving and rubbing in my face that I didn't pick him in Fantasy Premier League and continue to refuse to do so, and he's rubbing it in my face. Mm-hmm. Arsenal defeated Villa 2-1. Riley, go.
Dominant performance. We were good. We were good in this one. We should have been up 3-0 at half-time. Saka had a pretty easy miss. Basically an open net, a pretty firm Martinelli cross, but Saka still should have gotten that one, and then there was another miss I can't remember. But the Villa corner goal, Douglas Luiz. Am I biased? So pretty much what happened was Douglas Luiz had a corner, and he had the corner kick, and it swerved straight into the goals. But Ramsdale was kind of blocked, but not really.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that? Do you think that should have been disallowed or not? I was 50-50 on it as an Arsenal
I think
fan.
it's also 50-50. I can definitely see both sides. I do definitely see it was blocked. But with as it was VAR, I'm assuming.
They had a look at it, yeah.
So looking at other VAR decisions doesn't surprise me that they didn't come to the right one there. But
yeah.
I can honestly, you would make a case both sides. I can pick both
Yes.
sides really, but
yeah, like we responded, I think 2.5 minutes later with a good Martinelli goal, and then hung on for 3 points.
Was this the game? I'm probably wrong here. Was this the game where you got criticised for celebrating, or was that the game week before?
No, that was Fulham.
That was I thought it was Fulham the week before.
Yeah, that was because we came down from 1-0.
Yes, and
Fulham.
Gabriel was the reason. We talked about this last week. Gabriel was the reason you conceded, and then was the reason you scored.
Correct.
But Arsenal unfortunately winning again. And quickly touch on Man United beat Leicester 1-0, continuing their resurgence, and Tottenham drew with West Ham 1-1. Now moving into match day 6 on the weekend, Liverpool. I know we spoke about their lucky win against Newcastle. Draw with Everton, winless Everton. I think they've had 4 draws in 6 games, but
that was embarrassing.
No wins.
Embarrassing.
They're lacking. Their attack looks blunt, and their midfield is seriously struggling. Thiago can never get on the park. A midfield where Milner plays is not it's not a good midfield, and Henderson's a little bit past it. But
it was a good deadline day pickup getting Arthur.
Yep,
that was good.
Yep, that was
really good pickup.
Much needed. Because they just look lacking in attack. Harvey Elliott will be good, but they're just.
You shouldn't be drawing to Liverpool. Like probably Everton. Sorry.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most entertaining 0-0 draws you'll see.
It was.
Still.
Salah just looks a shell of himself. I'm not sure whether that's a role thing because, like most people that play Fantasy Premier League, they've got Salah. He just picks up the ball on the touchline. I want to see him picking the ball up to more central to try and get that cut in and try that finesse shot on
and
FIFA.
You look to a guy like him to have moments when you're struggling like that, and he's just not doing it.
He's picking up the ball so wide that it's not dangerous.
Yeah.
You're not worried about it. You're not worried about him scoring for dangerous positions. But look, they'll bounce back at some point. But they really haven't looked convincing in any game this year so far. Liverpool. Actually, no, the 9-0. The 9-0 is probably the one that they have. So part of it. Chelsea, we're back. I know it's talked at Dire Straits. We're back.
VAR
2-1 win over West Ham. VAR is the subject here. I know we said we're going to talk about it. Let's talk about it now, Rod. Look, I was talking to resident fan of the show, Marcus Corder, who has 2 very, very diehard Chelsea fans. How West Ham's goal got disallowed is beyond me. That is disgraceful.
So
and that's coming from a Chelsea fan. It benefited us.
For those who didn't see it, what happened? To quickly talk us through
Pretty much, I'm not sure if it was a played in through on goal. Bowen was through on goal. And Mendy... But I think Mendy, Bowen is running and leaves his leg out a little bit, and it collects Mendy. Freeze frame shows that there was contact. So there was contact, but for me it was incredibly minimal. It was accidental. And you pause it when he's making contact. Of course it looks bad. Of course it looks like he's kicking him. But in no way. That camera angles looked horrendous.
Mendy was coming at Bowen.
Yeah.
And Bowen's trying to jump over him. He's trying to...
Yeah, it was completely accidental.
He's trying to avoid contact.
Mendy knows he's lost the ball, and he goes down like he's been shot. I cannot believe that was overturned.
Lucky.
Incredibly lucky. In Chelsea, we looked better, but still wasn't all that convincing. Still a little bit concerning. But we'll take the win when it comes, because obviously we've lost to Southampton and Leeds. Now, I wanted to quickly touch on some of the lower teams, but some really entertaining football. Brighton defeated Leicester 5-2. Brentford defeated Leeds 5-2. And Bournemouth, a managerless Bournemouth, came from behind to beat Forest 3-2. It's really entertaining football. Now, I must say, I watched the Brighton game, but the other 2 games were on during the Chelsea game. So I had the goal rush on, so I was watching the goals, but I didn't see the match. But good to see those not lower, but they're slightly smaller sides. It's really entertaining football.
Brentford seem to do that a fair bit. They've had some games where it was 4-3 or 3-3 or like this 5-2. So
it's good for the competition. There's a lot of goals, especially after some other games. Palace, Newcastle 0-0. City drawing with Villa 1-1. Now this shocked everyone. I don't think anyone predicted this. Haaland again, 10th goal in 6 games wasn't enough, as Villa managed to stifle City with a solitary point and pick up a much needed point for themselves. We talked about Gerrard, his job not being maybe a little bit of pressure coming on, but this is a big point.
Yeah, it's big.
This is a big point.
That was at City, wasn't it?
Yep, that was at home.
That's big.
That's a big point, lad. No, I don't think anyone predicted that. The way Villa started and the way City started. Rod, look, had to happen eventually. Arsenal weren't going to go unbeaten. United defeating you 3-1.
Yeah.
Talk us through it.
Yeah. We had a good start. The bubble was burst. So I know this is going to sound stupid, but I'm not too unhappy with the way we played. Clearly, the first half we were outplayed in front of the Old Trafford crowd. We were a bit overawed by it all, but we had a goal disallowed early from Martinelli.
That looked very stiff.
I was
pretty stiff.
At about 2 a.m. in the morning, absolutely fuming. I was chatting to a guy from Rebel Christian. He's a Man United fan. He was saying, absolutely not. That is obviously a foul. But for me, and even Paul Scholes said this, he was like, okay, technically it's a foul, but it's not enough of a foul to disallow a goal.
They talked about this year the attacker getting, or not the, I know that this is a little bit different, but the attacker getting a bit more, the benefit of the doubt going to the attacker more. And I didn't think, was it originally called a goal?
Yes, so they didn't call a foul or anything.
So that's not a clear and obvious. I know we talked a little bit in the last podcast about clear and obvious and insufficient information, but I did think that was a goal.
Yeah,
personally.
I was very, and for me it was like, we're going 1-0 up away at Old Trafford. That is massive.
Yeah,
and the fact that it got taken away, I don't think we've ever recovered from that. So,
yep.
And then Anthony went down the other end and scored. That was
he did nothing until that goal. I know he's his first game, to be fair, but
he got towed up, and every time I've seen the going around on Twitter the video of KSI doing the skills school, and that's what Man United fans think Anthony is. But so we went down 1-0 at half time, and then the start of the second half we dominated. Yeah, absolutely dominated. Saka scored, and I thought we were going to go again and win the game, but a couple of incredible passes from Fernandez was the first one, and I think Eriksen the second one. Just 2 FIFA counter-attack goals. Yeah. And we lose 3-1. What I was not happy with was Roy Keane's comments about Arteta. Basically, Roy Keane said that every time Arsenal lose, Arteta makes excuses and doesn't give credit to the other team. All Arteta said was, we weren't disciplined tonight or today, and like in the key moments, and that's why we lost. He didn't discredit Man United.
He just said that his team weren't disciplined.
Yeah, so Roy Keane just basically had a go at him while he's down. But anyway, so we lost 3-1, but is what it is. We're still top of the league. So
yeah, still flying. It's a new Arsenal. I know you love the new Geelong phrase in the last set. It is a new Arsenal. And as I talked about, I don't hate Arsenal. I don't mind them. And I'm not sure if you saw, Rod, that Arteta created... for those FIFA players, when you rage quit in FIFA, there is a person with their head in their hands. Arteta, and that is Mikel Arteta. He literally recreated that meme on the weekend. That was pretty cool. I had a bit of a giggle at that. Just quickly, before we go on to some NBA stuff with Fletcher Berryman, who's sitting nice and quietly to my right.
Preparing. Champions
League kicks off tomorrow morning. Now, we're not going to talk about this too much because I don't follow it as much. I don't really follow the English teams, but so I touch on the English teams, who they're playing. So Chelsea are playing Dynamo Zagreb. Again, no idea. I think, what nationality is that? I couldn't even tell you.
Turkish? I don't know.
I couldn't even tell you.
No idea.
City's playing Sevilla. Liverpool's got Napoli. And Tottenham is playing Marseille. So that kicks off tomorrow. Keen to get up and watch those. But another big week in English Premier League. Fletcher.
All right, so guys, in the NBA basketball world, we don't really have NBA at the moment, but in the basketball world, we obviously had a bit of an incident with Korkmaz from the 76ers during the week in the Euro basketball. He got attacked by some Georgia players apparently in the tunnel, and some security guards might have helped the Georgia players. It's all allegations at the moment, which is not a good situation whatsoever, especially for like FIBA and stuff like that. They've got to get on top of that. If it did happen, you cannot be having security guards help out Georgia players attack Korkmaz after getting ejected, so it's not good.
Apparently there's security footage, and Turkey's demanding that they release it to the public, or else they'll quit Eurobasket.
Shit.
So, yeah.
It's getting spicy.
Wow. Yeah, and they missed like 20 seconds in the game while the fight was happening and all this type of stuff. So, it's not a good situation. Not a good look for FIBA to start off with if they don't do anything about it. It's really not a good look. But apart from that, we'll get on. There wasn't much news in the NBA. RJ Barrett signed an extension with the Knicks, which 4 years extension. So he's got this year and then another 4. For some pretty good coin too. I wouldn't mind a bit of that. So him and Ja and Zion, all the people who got max extensions from that year, I'm pretty sure. And then we've also got the Donovan Mitchell trade to Cavs for Colin Sexton. He says
Larry Markkinen.
Larry Markin. I don't know how to say the next guy.
Have fun with this one. I've never heard of this guy before.
Ochai
Agjabi?
Agjabi, yeah, like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and 3 first-round draft picks, and then 2 pick swaps.
So that's the big thing, I reckon. Is the
Yeah,
picks.
3 first-round draft picks is massive. I don't. Colin Sexton's going to be like a good player, but he's not going to be like a great player. He's obviously coming off the knee, so that's a bit scary. But he's not going to be a great player. He's going to be a good player, and then you're giving up 3 first-round draft picks for Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell was good in his first season when he was battling Ben Simmons for the Rookie of the Year, and was pretty good in his second season. But I'm still not set on him being an absolute superstar. A Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown.
Not yet. No,
I'm not sold on him being a genuine superstar. And we're also going back to the Kevin Durant type of trade. If he's getting 3 first round draft picks and 2 pretty good players and 1 absolute who knows, and then 2 pick swaps, what is Durant going for? Because that is incredible. But this makes the Cavs a lot better. Cavs lineups is now Darius Garland at point guard, and then Donovan Mitchell at the 2, and
Okoro
at 3, and then Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, and then I think Karis LeVert is still there.
They got
so
Love.
he comes off the bench, and then Love comes off the bench. I think they've got a very nice lineup.
Yeah,
they got defense, they got offense. Probably a little bit light on the 3-point shooting, but if they can get Love in rhythm off the bench, I think that's a seriously nice team.
Does it make them a contender?
Not a contender, but it puts them up there as a dark horse.
they're not in the category of like your Bucks and Celtics. I think they're in that. I think they're challenging for a home court advantage. I think that's where they are at the moment.
That's my thing. I
4
think
or
they'll be very
5
good regular
for
season
me.
team.
Yeah.
They're probably relying on like a Nets having a weird
bit of a meltdown.
Yeah, pretty much, because you're looking. They're not going to be ahead of Miami or Philly.
No.
So there's 4 teams already. So I think they could end up that 4, 5, 6 if they're lucky. But I'm really high on this for them. I'm happy that they've just gone for it.
Yeah.
Their starting 5 are all under 25.
Yeah.
So they've got continuity now for a couple of years. Fingers crossed. And we know the NBA, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And as well, they picked up Raul Neto a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So that's a backup point guard I like him as a backup. So
They have put together a nice list, and I hope they'll do everything to keep that list together, fork out the luxury tax to keep that list together, because if they can build a bit of a mini dynasty, I think that's going to be really nice for them.
Yeah.
The Utah Jazz, I've liked their trade period. What they've got back and everything they've done, I know they're going to be shootouts next year, but they've got some nice assets that they can trade off and get some more picks for, and they've also still got some picks accumulating like the OKC Thunder have done. So I think that they've done pretty well blowing up their roster, but getting a bit back for it.
Like
so.
they've committed to it. They haven't half-assed it. Like if you're going to do it properly. And they've done it. Like they're going to have that many picks now. They've got those pick swaps.
Yeah.
You probably, if you want to, you could wait until early in the season, just pray that Sexton blows up for the first 10, 15 games, has a blinder, sell him while he's high, see what happens. If a team's not playing well, they're struggling, and they just need that sort of guy who can score 20 points if he needs to. But I agree.
So they've still got Jordan Clarkson on the list, who I don't think they would keep, and Mike Conley, who he'd probably want to go to a team that's a contender, and the same as Bojan Bogdanovic, the Utah shooter. They're all got value in this market, I reckon, and they've got rid of Pat Beverly and all that type of stuff, but they've got Jared Vanderbilt. I like him.
Yep.
Colin Sexton, I like. There's some Frank Ntilikina.
Oh, Ntilikina.
Ntilikina, yeah.
I think they got him. So they've got some not bad players and some good draft picks. I don't mind it, what they've done. They've blown it up, but they've got something back for it. So I wonder what their year's going to be shithouse. But
I'd be surprised if they don't try and trade away like a Conley. Like he just doesn't. He doesn't fit there anymore.
And Conley wouldn't want to be there, because considering he's probably got maybe 2 years left his contract.
His value would be at an all-time low. Like he can't string any more than 10 games together.
It's an all-time low for that type of team. But if you go to the Lakers right now, or maybe Clippers,
we got John Wall, so we probably don't need him now. But
what was I thinking of? New Orleans. They need a point guard in their roster. I mean, they could give up something to get him, even if it's just a first round or second round or third round draft pick.
I guess if you don't have to give up much. It's a free hit and see how it goes.
So
yeah,
I think they're in a good position. They've rebounded pretty nicely with their list obviously having its time. They've had their time. They have their 5 years of not dominance, but really
competitiveness. They were
regular
relevant,
season. They were very, very nice. They just couldn't get done in the finals, but they've turned over their list nicely. And what I thought was going to be an absolute 5 or 6 years of pain not being a big free agency destination, they've done a fairly good job.
The Cleveland, that came out of nowhere for me. I didn't ever think of Cleveland as an option for the Knicks. Must be spilling, but I never thought of the Cavs as someone who would. I forgot about your Sextons and Markkanens as just assets, I guess, but
yeah, like
I didn't even think of the Cavs as someone to.
They're nice players that get some for them. So
yeah, that's
and
good.
The Knicks have shambles again. Like
must be the worst thing in the world being a Knicks fan. Getting your hopes up. I think they're not even gonna.
They just can't land anyone. Like, Kevin Durant passed them out. Like, everyone's just passed them up and said, nah, sorry.
There's no reason to go there, is there?
Nah, not really, is there?
Because you get to play at Madison Square Garden, but you get booed if you're not playing well.
Yeah.
So what's the point? Like,
it's like Philly on steroids.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's just the most volatile place to play.
They're going to be, I don't know, call Brunson, give him a go, but I think they could be a borderline play-in team.
Yeah, well, with Cleveland now becoming a playoff team, and Atlanta got better, like
there is a top 9 in the East that is brutal.
Yeah,
one of those teams is going to miss out, and
like the top 4 are very even, and then the next 4 are very even.
Yeah,
and then you could probably add on a couple of teams onto
that.
So
anywhere. So the Knicks are in trouble, big time.
Anyway, moving on to F1 now. That's really all in the NBA news we've got, or basketball news we've got.
Now, our mate Danny Ricciardo, obviously that happened a couple of weeks ago. We have since found out that Oscar Piastri is confirmed at McLaren from next year.
Did I call this in the teaser video? I think I did. Just want to make that clear.
You did. Okay, yes.
Inside information.
Yes, you were waiting to say that, weren't you? You were ready to go whip that one out. So this is great. I mean, obviously it means that Ricciardo might not have a seat next year, but the fact that there's another Australian in F1 is great. But the outcome of the Piastri contract case has been released in the last couple of days. The contract tribunal said that there is clear evidence of a contract between McLaren and Piastri dated the 4th of July. So that's 2 months ago. He signed the contract. 9 days after that, that was when Danny Ricciardo put out his Instagram story saying, I'm committed to McLaren until the end of next year. So they have absolutely screwed Danny Rick here and strung him along for 2 months. So... Poor fella.
It's not great dealing, is it?
No.
Like as a company, it's probably not great dealing.
And I understand it's so cutthroat.
Yeah,
but surely the
different.
human side of things, you've got to put that into perspective as well.
But even like Pierre's now thinking, oh well, if I have a couple of bad years, obviously he's young, he's got that bit of leeway on his side. But if he has a couple of bad years, what's to say that doesn't happen to him? He doesn't get backstabbed and moved on, just like Daniel Ricciardo.
And this second McLaren seat's been iffy for the last kind of 5-6 years. Even the start of Drive to Survive, when it was Alonso and I can't remember his name, but that other guy that wasn't that good, and they just gave him the flick straight away. So if he doesn't perform, you never know. Like you said, he might find his way.
Like they've already backstabbed someone before. Why not they backstab him again?
Exactly. And it's not the cleanest way to come into F1. So there's expectation.
Nah, you've got to drive now. You've got to drive.
Yeah.
You're not in the Williams where you can just putt around and pretend that you're doing good.
They're expecting points
results.
Finishes every week.
Yeah.
And they won't accept anything less. The next one, I just wanted to quickly talk about this. There's been a TikTok circling of Danny Rick and Sergio Perez talking at the Dutch Grand Prix.
Did see this.
Where it is rumoured that Danny Rick said, in quotes, I'll take a year off and come back in 24. I don't like the sound of that.
And you can pretty much hear him say it too. Like it wasn't like people lip reading him.
Yeah.
Like I think you can legitimately hear it.
It's not a reach. It's like once you see the text, they say, "Oh, this is what he said."
Yeah.
You kind of hear it, but and it sounds like Pierre Gasly could be going to Alpine, so the chances are really slim of Danny Rick going anywhere else. Because I don't think Williams and Haas can afford him, so that's not good.
Well, would Hamilton leave at the end of the year? This is the biggest long shot of all time, but would Hamilton leave, and would they offer Ricardo a second
As
driver?
in Williams leaving. Hamilton leaving F1.
Yeah, just retiring. Because obviously you had the rumours in the off season of him retiring.
I don't think so. I think because he's still so competitive. I personally I think he'll still stay.
Yeah.
They'll have plans in place to have someone replace him in a couple of years, but I just don't think.
I can't see them offering Ricardo with the way he's performing with McLaren. I just can't see him. Even if that happened, I just can't see them offering Ricardo. Although he'd be one of the only teams that can afford him, but I just don't think they would.
How good would that be, though?
But there's no other.
That'd be sick.
Like if they want a second good driver, behind George, where else you going? Like obviously saying Gasly, that's about it. All that's on the market at the moment. So it would be Ricardo. But
maybe they're banking on Hamilton just going for like as long as your Alonso's and Vettel's and going till he's 40.
Well, if he's already had rumours that he didn't really want to go this year, or he took a little bit of time, he's obviously not fully there. So
and like we'll get to it, but things like what happened on the weekend, they're un-Mercedes like things. So for those to start to creep in, that's not good. But anything else on the Ricciardo stuff?
Nope.
All right, Dutch Grand Prix. Safe to say it was a pretty uneventful weekend.
No.
It looked promising on Friday and Saturday because Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes, for probably the first time all year, had similar pace in practice and qualifying. So Verstappen qualified first, Leclerc second and Sainz third, which was a bit of a surprise because Ferrari were probably a little bit quicker. Verstappen led into turn one and stayed there, basically, for the race. There wasn't much resistance, but lap 48, there was a virtual safety car. So for those who don't know, a virtual safety car is when there's an incident that it's not bad enough that they need to bunch all the cars up. So all the cars slow down to the same speed. This means that Max could pit and he lost less time, so the cars couldn't catch up to him as quick, which basically assured the win because Mercedes were banking on him having to pit and go behind him. 7 laps later, there was an actual safety car and all the cars pitted for soft tyres except Lewis Hamilton. And that's where it all went wrong, basically. So, safety car, I can't remember, was it Sonoda that pulled off the track?
Yep.
So they needed to get a safety car, which basically is when there's an incident or a car they need to get rid of. It bunches all the cars up, and then they start the race again, basically, behind the safety car. Mercedes wanted to keep both cars out, but George Russell came in anyway. He overruled them, which in the end was the right decision. We haven't seen him do that before in a Mercedes, but he did it in the Williams a couple of times to good effect. So that basically meant instead of at the end of the safety car it being Lewis first, George second and Max third, Lewis was now vulnerable to Max. So Max passed Lewis before turn one and that was it. Lewis misses out on a podium on old medium tyres and Max Verstappen extends his lead to 109 points. With 6 races to go.
Already over.
Basically, Max is that type of driver at the moment. If he doesn't DNF, he wins. So he needs basically 5 DNFs out of 6 races to lose it.
Yeah.
No chance.
Science seal delivered.
So yeah, kind of like disappointing since we started talking F1 on the podcast. There's been 2 stinkers of races. Not much to talk about, to be honest. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, I guess we'll get to this at the end of the season. But it's been a bit poor. Apart from the first 3 or 4 races, it's been... We thought the new regs were going to bring in something a bit different. It probably hasn't quite lived up to that expectation.
Probably more so in the midfield's been good. And that's probably because McLaren hasn't been to the...
dominance that we thought they were.
Yeah, they haven't been to the level that we thought they would be. So the midfield's been good. You've seen like your Albons push up, get some points finishes. Schumacher came 8th on the weekend, which was good. But yeah, you're right.
And even like an AlphaTauri just pops up every now and again. They did early in the season, but they've knocked off late.
And it was the first race both Red Bulls DNF'd, and we thought, oh, here we go. Like it's Ferrari's year, and then fallen off a cliff. So yeah, not good. Red Bull are 145 points out of Ferrari in the constructors, so that's over as well.
Yeah,
it's been the perfect season for Red Bull. Also, another quick one I wanted to talk about with the F1. Max now has, I believe it's 10 wins this season. The all-time record for a season, 13.
He'll get it.
He needs 4 more wins.
Out of 6 races.
Does he get there?
I reckon he gets it.
He's doing DNF, isn't he? Yeah, probably. I think he comes down to the last race, though.
I think he will get there too. He's
Like, no one's going near him.
he's dominant. Like if he doesn't DNF, he's winning.
The
You can't
answer,
trust
the answer to
Ferrari,
the question is how many times you think he DNFs. Really, if it's less than 2, he gets it. So
I can't remember the last time he DNF'd, to be honest.
no one's
Maybe-
catching him. It's whether his car fails him or not.
So he is, this is one of the best seasons since I've started watching F1. Just the most dominant season that anyone's had. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a snooze fest the last couple of weeks, but that is pretty much everything with the F1. Got a race at Monza this weekend, which has Red Bull written all over it for straight line speed. So, I'm sure we'll be watching. Oh, no, we won't be. We're back from the snow Sunday, are they?
Yeah, I don't think
Was
we'll
that
be
three races
knackered.
in a row racing?
Yeah.
We'll be knackered after the snow, so I don't think we'll be doing any.
Tired legs. Thank God basketball's finished.
Oh, God.
For those wondering, we didn't make finals in Sunday night basketball.
Close.
Not.
Nope. Yeah, not good.
Not even close.
No, we tried. Fletch scored some points.
We had good fun. You had a stinker on Sunday, though. To be fair, you don't have many. You're due because you've been carrying us all season with no Will.
Yeah, Will came back and just disrupted up the team. So
Will went on a 7-week...
Bender.
7? Yeah, a
49
Kentucky
day
tour.
bender.
So Fletcher's shoulders are ridiculously sore, and finally Will's come in. He disrupted the harmony,
Yeah.
and in turn Fletcher.
We had it figured out, didn't we, Tommy?
We did. Me and you, Splash Bros.
Riley
Now,
knocked in a few.
Oh,
Rod from deep, that
couple of
nice
threes.
slow release, bang, triple.
Got to feed me, boys. Yeah, pass me the ball.
Good reason for that. You only seem to make threes when the game's over.
Junk time, baby.
That's a mood. You don't make them when they matter.
It doesn't say what quarter you scored them in. It just says how many points you score.
Exactly right, Fletch.
Yeah, but everyone knows that you scored them when we were down by 40 odd.
Anyone that
No.
didn't watch doesn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God.
So anyway, that is everything for the F1. Hopefully, Monza's a better race.
All right, now before we throw to Fletcher for your segment to close this podcast, I thought I'd just mention a bit of golf and a bit of tennis. Now, I'm not sure what rendition of this Live Invitational was. Is it 5, 6?
Couldn't tell you.
I have not watched it at all.
Nah,
But there's been a few. And DJ was the winner of this one in Boston, winning 5.8 million Australian dollars.
That's
That
not
is a
bad
handy 54-hole weekend.
It's a 3 days work.
Literally. And then to add on 1.1 mil onto that from his team winning. As we said, we haven't watched any of it. Not interested. But it's a lot of money. And when a big name player wins, it's noteworthy. Now, to highlight, we had a bit of a discussion last week about the Live, the pulling power Live has. You put in here, Rod, last place, shot plus 16 and won 180k. Basically, legitimately for turning up.
I reckon you could have done that.
Seriously,
To be honest.
any one of us could have done that. That's incredible. That just shows why people we can. The debate is it good, is it bad? But when you see that the players had an absolute stinker of a weekend, is still pocketing 180k just for rocking up. That shows why people like Cam Smith are saying yes.
Correct.
It does make sense. Much as we hate it, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of Cam Smith, he had a 2-shot. He was tied for the lead with 2 holes to play, and an error at tee shot led to him faltering and no longer being in winning position. So, still pockets a very handy amount of money. But yes, his Live debut did not result in a win. Now, don't expect us to talk about tennis too much. This is the last major of the US Open, so we won't talk about much tennis from here on in, but we have to talk about Nick Kyrgios, boys. Marcus and I have been Kicks fans from the start when he beat Rafa at Wimbledon, and he won through to yet another major quarterfinal, defeating number 1 seed Daniil Medvedev in 4 sets, in the end comfortably, after a very tight opening set. Now, he has surged into serious favouritism for this title now. Won't play the number 3 seeds on the other side of the draw, Alcaraz, the young Spanish sensation. And Rafa lost today. So if his body holds up, Kiggs can seriously win this tournament. We'll play Karen Kachanov tomorrow. You guys will know the result of that by now. We obviously recording the night before. If he wins that, sets up a potential juicy matchup with rival Casper Ruud, who he has described as a boring tennis player before.
Whack.
So I think that was literally, pretty much for context, Kiggs retired, hurt in a game, and Ruud celebrated Literally, usually when they win, they'll shake hands, they'll shake the umpire's hands, and then they'll thank the crowd, they'll fist bump, whatever. Kyrgios retired hurt, and Ruud still celebrated. So Kiggs tweeted him saying, "You're only relevant because I played you, and you're a boring tennis player." So that will be a juicy matchup if that eventuates. Just want to quickly shout out Aya Tomjanovic, who also progressed to the quarterfinals. She will play Uns Jabeur of Tunisia. I couldn't even tell. I think it's Tunisia. The 5th seed. So that is also tomorrow morning. Now, Fletcher, this got a bit of this got some good raps last week. I think that what I heard is they didn't go for long enough. So
Is that right?
They want more. They want more.
I think this time we wanted to make it its own segment because you added it on last week. We'll make it its own segment. We've got a couple in. We've only used Corey Lyle. He said he wanted to suggest a couple, so we've used one of his today for this. Feel free to send in your own. We want to make this interactive as possible for the listener. But yeah, this got some good raps last week, Fletcher. So I'm really excited to do this today. So yeah, hit us with it.
So I've got some NBA matchups here. So we're doing the same thing again. 2s and 1s. 2s and 1s and 3s and 2s.
Street ball rules, baby.
Street ball rules.
First to 21.
So first to 21. We've got a few. I got 2 matchups of 2v2s and 1 matchup of 3v3s. The boys here are going to give a few response. I'm going to give my response too.
And let us know in the comments of the socials what you would pick, because we want to make this interactive as possible for the listener.
We are not experts.
Yes, I know. Me personally, I like a lot of sports. And I do like my NBA, but I'm nowhere near as informative about the NBA than other sports. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
You can't be wrong either, because
it is your opinion.
It's opinion based. So just give your opinion. It's good to see.
Can do.
Hit us with it.
Just keep it PG rated, so that just when someone picks a different answer, you don't bloody go and abuse
still
it.
Still referencing the Geelong Sydney.
No. Well, Corey said that he was screaming in his car, "Pick Jar and LeBron."
Thank you. I can't believe you boys actually thought about it last week. But yes, Corey did. He messaged me saying, "I can't believe the other boys even thought about it." Like, it was so obvious. But hey, it's opinion based, so we all have our different opinion. That's what makes this podcast so great.
Yeah, they can just step out on the 3-point line and shoot like 30%.
But hey, that's everyone's opinion.
I'm sure Corey had fun on his weeks off in the fantasy basketball finals.
Oh, Corey Lyle, please respond. Yeah,
right,
he was irrelevant.
Let's keep this bloody settled down. All right,
Sorry,
so our first matchup we got today. So it's a bit of a different one. We got unanimous MVP Steph Curry. So this is prime Steph Curry to me. He's unanimous MVP, scoring absolute 3-pointers like you wouldn't believe, with Rudy Gobert. So you got a tall and a small. They're playing against DeMar DeRozan and Giannis. Who have you got? So the other 3 people aren't prime. It's just whatever year you want. Who have you got winning this matchup, Tommy?
Oh, me? DeMar and Giannis. I know, Rod. I'm feeling you might disagree, but I reckon. Look, I know 2s are worth more than 1s. Naturally, that's how maths work. But I just think that I know DeMar and Giannis both aren't great from the 3-point line, and that'll be your argument, I'm sure. But I think if they hit any mid-range shots early, Gobert has to at least respect it, and I think that's where Curry gets exposed.
What happens if they miss him, and then the rebounds go straight to Steph Curry?
If they miss it, well, then it becomes...
Steph Curry shoots a lot of 3-pointers.
Yes, look, yeah, I can understand that. But I just think that DeMar and Giannis will be too big. I think Curry will get eaten alive on the defensive end. But you are right that Curry needs a couple of open shots, even semi-open, and 2s are worth more than 1s. But I do think it's DeMar and Giannis.
Right?
I'm going to disagree with you here, Tommy. I reckon if we're talking prime Curry...
Yeah, we're talking unanimous MVP.
Against DeMar DeRozan right now.
I will just hold up.
Is it right now?
Well, I'm saying...
You said any version.
Well, no, I said prime Steph Curry.
Yeah,
and I would say that he won a unanimous MVP, which no one else has ever done in the history of the game.
Yep.
So that has to be his prime year. But I'd almost say last year was a very good year.
In terms of the narrative and everything he did, that could be his most complete season.
Yeah.
But
we're saying prime unanimous because you got to say...
individual skill.
Yeah.
So that's where I think you're saying, like, DeRozan is going to score a lot of mid-ranges. 1. So 2 of those.
He has to make... Yeah.
Imagine the amount of 3s Curry's going to hit on DeRozan.
You can't double either.
I think DeRozan's just going to give everything back on the defensive end. He's not an elite defender.
True.
And like Fletch
but
said,
Giannis is.
But is Giannis going to come out. So if Giannis defends Curry just throws it to Gobert. And
Yeah.
it's Gobert versus DeRozan in the post. In a 2v2. And you can't double team Gobert, pass it to Curry, bang. You know what I mean? So I think Curry and Gobert win that one just because Curry lights out.
That's
Prime.
fair.
That's
I'm
Fletch?
the opposite. DeMar and Giannis. I'm going to pick. I do think it'll be a good matchup though, because
Yeah,
it's
it'll be close.
the yin to the yang. Like you got the 3-point shooting and the inside paint of Gobert and Steph, versus just pound the ball mid ranges in Giannis and DeMar. My only problem is once they double Steph, if it's not a dunk, Giannis can't score. If that makes sense. Like if it's not a layup or a dunk,
Or Gobert.
yeah, Gobert's not
Yeah.
putting up any like post fade or anything like that to have a second move. So I don't know that, if it's not just a genuine
Yeah.
palm off, so it's all relying on Steph.
It's not like a gimme bucket.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
but then at the same time, it's like prime Steph. He was dribbling between 3 and 4 players and then chucking it up. And Steve Kerr was going, "What are you doing shooting this shot?" And he's still making it. So
that's the thing. I feel like if it like get into the nitty gritty, I reckon all structure goes out the window and it's just Curry just chucking it
that's
out.
fair.
Isolating.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But I like it. It's a close one. That's tough.
So the second matchup, this is by Tom's friend Corey.
Hey, he's friend of all of us. very
He's
clear.
an acquaintance of me and
Corey in his
Fletch.
car, like in shock right now. Fletcher, your friend's Corey.
Well,
Yeah,
after I
go
got
on.
the abuse from him about John Moran and shit, he's not my friend at the moment. The second matchup is the Joker, so MVP, 2-time MVP, the Joker, and Devin Booker versus PG and Embiid. Riley.
This was hard. I found this really tricky, but I've gone with Jokic and Booker for this one. So I'm like you can go either way, but I just can't go past Jokic at the moment. I think the one-on-one Jokic versus Embiid, it'll be a great matchup. I think they'll both go after the other at the offensive end. They've had some great battles in games in the past. I just think that Booker might be in like a one game. We've seen PG have some misfires. So I think that Booker might be...
Side of the backboards.
Yeah, as a Clippers fan, I know it all too well. So I think Booker's just a little bit more consistent than PG. I am concerned about how good Embiid and PG will be on defense. But I think Jokic and Booker get over the line 22-20.
22-20.
Yeah, it'll be a great matchup.
You got to win by 2, so it's good that you said 22-20.
Yeah, I think it just goes over like a last set in tennis. I think it just goes a little bit further.
Tiebreaker?
Yeah.
Right, Tommy, what are you thinking?
The last thing you said then, you're worried about the defense, is the reason why I've picked Embiid and PG. I just think their defense will prevail. To be fair, in street pool, you don't see a lot of hard defense. But I just reckon Embiid and PG will lock them up and score on the other end. So, I don't really have a lot more other logic other than I think they're better defenders, and I think they can limit them too much to lose. So I think they win.
Fair enough. Fletch, go on.
I've gone with Riley.
Hey,
The Joker
welcome.
and Booker here. I think they control the pace of the game better. PG's not a passer, Embiid's not a passer. They will play isolation basketball all day long, and it will form bad shots, and they probably just won't score consistent enough. Whereas Joker can handle the ball and get good into passes
That's
for
a good
Booker,
point.
and control the pace of the game and the matchups that they want. And I think that's where that's the only advantage they have. I think
That's a good point.
the PG and Embiid probably have a bit better defense than the other two, but I think just controlling the pace of the game and
Just so many ways to score as well.
Yeah.
They just, inside,
so they can play
outside.
high-low and then whatever they really want to. And I don't know, they're better at controlling the pace. Joker's probably the only one there that's a real pace guy, whereas like PG just wants to shoot his own shots and Embiid just wants the ball in the post. So they'll be disconjointed. Our third matchup, this is a 3-on-3 here. So there's a couple more matchups, a bit more team play coming along here. I like it. I really like this one, even though I picked it out. So, of course, it's good.
I hope so.
Good
I hope
job,
you
Fletch.
like it.
Good job.
You want to say good job?
I've got Luka, Jeremy Grant, Jonas Valanciunas versus RJ Barrett, Jason Tatum, Miles Turner. So I'm going to chuck to you. So the matchups I would say would be obviously RJ Luka, then Jeremy Grant, Jason Tatum, and then Jonas Valanciunas versus Miles Bridges. That's what I'd say how they match up. Riley, what are you thinking here?
Well, I actually thought Tatum would take it upon himself to go to Luka.
Yeah, I did too.
That's what I thought would happen in that 3v3, and just let RJ and Jeremy Grant kind of cancel each other out. So based off what I did with Tatum being on Luka, I've gone with Tatum, RJ, and Turner just because of the defense that I think Tatum will be able to have on Luka. And similar to Turner on Valanciunas, Turner has probably not been at his best the last couple of years, but I mean, he's still a shot blocking threat. So I've gone for Tatum, RJ, and Turner just because of the defense. I mean, Luka's going to dominate, obviously, in that sort of scenario. He's going to get his shots, but I think that, Tatum, RJ, and Turner with a little bit of defense should get over the line.
Yeah, so the reason why I said Jeremy Grant on Jason Tatum is because I think that's how they would want to match up. They wouldn't want Luka getting stuck on Jason Tatum on Luka's defensive end, so they'd almost have to play Jeremy Grant on Jason Tatum just so if there's a quick rebound, they don't get Luka stuck on Jason Tatum.
Because like Luka would kill RJ for sure.
Yeah, but then Jason Tatum would kill Luka.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
that's why with my the way I did it, I reckon Tatum, like Luka gives back everything on the defensive end, what he does on the offensive end.
Yeah,
basically.
in this 3-on-3 situation, I reckon he does. Yeah,
but that's my bad. So
no, it's a good way. You thought about it a different way. I was thinking team 1 against team who's offensively against team 2, not that team 2 is going to be offensive against team 1. I know that was a bit confusing, but like.
No, I get you. It's a good matchup. It's a good 3v3 for sure.
Yeah, because if the ball turns over, then Luka's got to play on Tatum. So it's kind of a hard one. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tommy,
I've just changed my answer. Not from what you said. I had planned Luka Doncic the whole time. I've gone with RJ, Tatum, and Turner purely because I think we didn't speak about the center matchup, Turner and Valanciunas. I just think Miles Turner's spot up shooting 3-pointers, I think will be beneficial. You got Luka controlling the ball. Jeremy Grant needs his own shot. I just think Tatum and Turner and RJ just spread the floor a little better, and I would pick them. Although, as I said, I did have planned Luka Doncic. So my reason was going to be Luka Doncic. But I've changed to Tatum, Turner, and RJ just because I think the spread might be a little bit better.
Fletch?
I'm finding this one hard.
Yeah.
I've gone with the Luka side. So I just think Luka will will his way over the line. The reason why I don't want to go with him, there's no free throw. So he gets to the free throw line a lot and shoots a lot of free throws. There's probably not free throws, so it just goes back to the top. So he doesn't get those easy points. Valanciunas was a much improved 3-point shooter this year. I think he hit 9 threes in a game. I had him on my fantasy team, so I think he hit like something like that one game.
That was a good pickup.
It was pretty funny. And Miles Turner has been an improved 3-point shooter. I would say he's better on the defensive end than Jonas Valanciunas, like more of a shot blocker. Jeremy Grant's an interesting one. He's a bit of a unicorn. Tall, can sometimes hit a shot, but sometimes is quite poor at hitting a shot.
Takes some weird shots. Some really weird, contested boys.
So I'm thinking Luka can control that and take that out of his game and just give him the ball when he needs it, and that will help improve his game. And then him rolling to the rim with Jonas Valanciunas in the corner will be dangerous. If not, Jonas Valanciunas in the post.
Now, is that all from that one? Because I've got a bonus one here. Bit more fun. I have no idea where to go with this one. Corey Lyle, who's apparently not friends with Fletcher now, has added at the bottom of his message. Now, this is not basketball knowledge. This is who would win in a fight. So I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts in this. Russell Westbrook and Bismack Biyombo versus Patrick Beverley and Boban Marjanovic. Now, this was meant to be a basketball one, but I have absolutely no idea how to assess that one. So he said in brackets, also want you to know who you guys would win in a fight. So again, I have no idea where to go with this one. Riley, you have any thoughts on that at all?
I have no idea. I just love to watch it. I could go either way with this one. I just said, I don't know, if Westbrook and Biyombo lose the game, they'll win the fight. That's all I could think of, but I don't know, to be honest.
I
would not want to fight Pat Bev.
Biyombo would be scary, I reckon.
Boban is...
He's a BFG. He's a big friendly giant.
Yeah, that's true. He's cuddly, isn't he?
Feels like he'd just be the guy saying, guys, don't fight.
Is he also the one that's like... Is he what was he on that new basketball Netflix show? What was it called?
You've lost me.
Oh,
Hang
the one
on.
with Anthony Edwards.
The one with Edwards.
Oh, Hustle.
Hustle, was he the one that's like, I am like 8? He's like, I'm like 21. He's got like a 15-year-old son.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I was lost there.
I just think Pat Beverly in a fight would be scary. So I'd pick Pat Beverly, but I have absolutely zero reasoning whatsoever other than Pat Beverly scary.
Is there any reasoning?
It's a fight. Like,
I'll disagree with you. Russ and Biombo. I reckon Russ a little bit bigger than Pat Bev. And
That's true.
Biombo's
Yeah.
got some dog in him.
I don't know.
Dog in him.
Yeah, probably Russ and Bismack. I don't think Bojan. I've known him as a very nice person.
he's generally
Yeah.
a gentle giant.
Yeah.
But no NBA players win any fight because they all just talk to each other.
Yeah.
They all just
Trash talk on Twitter.
like when it comes to actually fighting, they just stand there in front of each other and then walk away.
Wait for the refs to come
Yeah.
so they can pretend that
Pretend they're holding him
back.
back.
Yeah.
Apart from Brandon Ingram and Raja Rondo against Chris Paul.
Oh yeah, and Isaiah Stewart at the start
Yeah,
of last
and
season. Yeah. That's
And,
bonkers.
Who's the Piston guy that tried to fight LeBron? Saquon
what are you talking-
Bey. What's his?
Oh, Sadiq Bey.
Sadiq Bey.
Did Sadiq Bey?
Was it
did he?
him that got elbowed in the eye by LeBron James and was like running at him across the court?
No, that was Isaiah
That was
Stewart.
Stewart, yeah.
Oh, it was
Isaiah
Isaiah
Stewart
Stewart.
when he
Stewart.
ran through all of
Yeah.
the
The whole crowd.
Yeah.
He get held
Yeah.
back. He was getting taken into the thing.
It looked like a Malice at the Palace sort of thing, which
Yeah.
can happen again. But yeah,
But they didn't throw punches. They just ran at each
no,
other.
he just ran and then he tripped over someone.
But
So,
yeah,
yeah.
feel free to send in your who would win in a fight, and we will somewhat debate it. But
Let's stick to basketball.
but enough. As I said before, feel free to send in your basketball. I think we're going to start doing. I think we'll talk about it before. We're going to start doing team projections, like which team do we think would finish higher out of Memphis and this team, as we near the NBA season. We also, I think, Riley, you made a good idea that we're going to do a basketball preview podcast, separate one. We just preview,
A big season ahead.
Yeah.
I think very exciting season.
Basketball start about October 19th is when the first game's going to be out, so we'll try and put an episode out before that footy's over, so we'll probably put its own episode out there and we'll do MVPs, championship winners, early predictors, things like that.
I love it.
Probably
And
use the
awards.
starters. The starters always have like a bit of a preview show.
Yeah, they
Probably,
do.
probably model it off that to some extent. Don't directly copy them.
because they always do it really well.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go with that, and that's been our episode of our world sport.
Thanks for tuning in again, guys.
So this episode, obviously you're listening, has come out on Thursday, so we've got another one coming out of the next week footy, the elimination final, isn't it, this week?
Semi-final?
Semi-finals
Yeah,
this
Semi-finals.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Win or go home.
It is elimination.
So we'll have that episode out on the Wednesday, and then another one of these on the Thursday. We've got the F1, we've got the basketball.
Hopefully we're talking about Nick Kyrgios'
Nick
title.
Kyrgios win.
When's the final?
The final will be, well, if he's in it, will be Monday morning. Yeah, Monday morning. Because I think the first one's Monday morning. So,
Okay.
Perfect.
Like middle of the night or
no,
morning?
well, he played it 10 o'clock this morning. So that was the last match. So
All right, prime time.
Yesterday morning. That was the last match. So it'd probably be, it'd be early. It'd be good enough time we can get up and watch it. It wouldn't be middle of the night.
Beautiful.
So perfect time.
Count
for us
me in.
So hopefully we're celebrating that.
And we'll have a bit more APL and Champions League maybe to touch on, and then some more interactive stuff, some quizzes, some.
Yeah, I think that's
we'll
going to be
do that.
amazing.
We wanna try and do that.
That's
Yeah.
going to be good fun.
We might have a bit of a recap of me and Riley's snow trip with the boys.
Yeah.
Well, not with all the boys.
They're both our first times skiing.
Yeah, so
So-
we might have some
Could be ugly.
bruises, but
Yeah.
we'll push through.
Hopefully
the
some
beers is-
funny videos to put on the socials is what I'm hoping. I'm going to be asking the rest of the group to try and get some clips of
The
you
beers
stacking.
will mask the pain, I think, just quietly
A few CCs on the Saturday night
Yeah.
won't go astray.
in the cool conditions.
So that's been another episode. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
We'll do.
Thank you.